Welcome to the next episode of Flyer Nation. I'm Matt Mohan. If you missed our last episode, you can check it out on the Lewis University Television Network's YouTube channel where we spotlighted the women's basketball team. Today, I'm going to be joined by assistant coach Nick Rocco and senior forward Donovan Oliver of the men's basketball team. To start, though, I'm joined by Coach Nick Rocco. Coach, how are you today? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so you're entering year number 3 now here at Lewis. Your second year last year, you guys had a great year. I know you've spent some time coaching high school and collegiately for about 5-6 years now. Spent some time at St. Joe's. Could you just tell us a little bit about your background, why you got into coaching, and why you chose to work here at Lewis?
I guess to make it quick, ever since I was young, I looked up to coaches as well as players, but like the Phil Jacksons, the Pat Rileys, the Greg Popoviches of the world, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. And so I got into it very quickly after done playing in college. Had the opportunity to learn from Coach Ping at St. Joe's, who's a legend, and got to know Lewis University and Coach Trost through the AAU circuit to start and build that relationship, and wasn't going to pass on the opportunity to come here.
Yeah, so. Fan of some great basketball minds for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned at St. Joe's you coached underneath Gene Pingatore, who many people don't know. He's one of the most legendary Illinois high school basketball coaches of all time. He was in one of my favorite basketball documentaries, Hoop Dreams. He had a segment in that one. What's the biggest thing you learned from Gene Pingatore in the time that you were there?
I think a lot. The biggest thing is it extends off the court and just life lessons. And those life lessons that he tried to instill in our guys and instill in his assistant coaches always went hand in hand with on the court. Just being a young man for our players, handling yourself with class, respect, responsibility. And I can get into all the basketball stuff, but we'd be here all day. So,
great life lessons, though.
Yeah.
So now, when people watch basketball, I know they see head coach Trost out there barking on the sidelines, but I mean, many of them may not understand, what the assistant coach's jobs are. There's usually a bunch of you on the bench. What would you say your role is as an assistant for this team in practice, off the court, behind the scenes?
I'd say probably to be Coach Trost's second set of eyes and ears. Give him another opinion, a different take, a different perspective on how the game's being played or how we have to go about scouting an opponent, as well as kind of be that buffer system in the balancing act. It's like a yin and a yang, so to speak.
Very nice. A little bit of a wingman, you could say.
Right.
How would you say your coaching style differs from Coach Trost? What different types of skills do you bring to the table?
I don't know. I wouldn't say differs, but I think obviously I'm in a new school way. You're younger, but I'd like to think of myself as we're very similar in terms of say like an old school mentality in how to work and how to grind and train. So I would say very similar in that regard. And I don't know, I think differences would be I think every assistant and head coach are going to have differences, but just like of opinions and how things can be done. And I think the mark of a good relationship is like how you can mesh those differences and make the vision clear as one goal.
Absolutely. So. You guys definitely stress work ethic. I like that about your team. What is the most rewarding part for you coaching these young guys out here?
I mean, the success on the court is great, but what comes to me as one of the things that I smile about on the inside is watching them grow as young men, having fun every day, smiling, having them realize that there's more to life than basketball, and being professionals off the court, which is going to translate onto the court.
Yeah, well, let's talk about these guys. Let's talk about the team for a second. You guys had a great year last year, 25-6. You qualified for the GLVC conference tournament, qualified for the NCAA Division II national tournament. Lost a couple key starters though. Kendall McCollum, Delaney Blaylock, your top two leading scorers from this past year, both graduated.
Yeah.
What's the biggest key to overcoming the loss of these key departures and replicating the success that you guys have had?
It's a good question. You can never replace, two all-conference type guys, two pros.
Yeah.
But what we have to do is work as a whole, get better at the little things, and we have to become a tight-knit group. One that just moves as one, as cliche as that sounds, and does all the little things perfect. Our margin of error is not going to be as great, so got to cut down on turnovers, value the ball, and I think as long as we work together, as cliche as that is, we'll be okay.
Yeah, it takes a team to win. You're going to need guys to step up, though, too.
Yes.
Some of your upperclassmen that are returning this year that received significant minutes last year, Anthony DeVanzo, Adam Pish, senior Donovan Oliver, who we'll have later on the segment today. What do you think these guys are capable of? What jobs do they need to do to step up and play a big role for the team this year?
I think Anthony, Pish, and Donovan are three great young men. I think they have great leadership skills. Their skills speak for themselves, basketball-wise. As far as what they're going to need to do, they're going to need to score, carry a bulk of the scoring, which we lose in Delaney and Kendall. But I think they're going to need to put their mark on this team with their leadership and how things need to be done at practice and how everyday intensity needs to be brought. Stuff like that from those three, to me, is worth its weight in gold and will translate to success on the court.
Yeah, you got to work hard every day. Can't take a single day for granted, absolutely. So we're only a couple weeks away now from your first game. First game's November 1st. It's an exhibition game, but it will be a little bit of a challenge. You guys are playing University of Illinois, Division I opponent. How would you rate your guys' off-season and preseason preparation over the summer, these last couple months of school, just to get ready for the season?
Coach Stross has a saying. He told these guys, is if you can look back and the new version of you, the current version of you, can beat the old version of you, then you did your job in the off season. If he can't, then you didn't do your job in the off season. And that's a self-reflection question that those guys individually have to answer. As coaches, we see, we know, and we'll see November 1st.
What would you say is the biggest strength of your team right now? What's something that you guys will just hang your hat on for the season to make sure you grind out wins?
Honestly, I think this group does a lot of the little things well, and it's got to do a lot of the little things great. But I think leadership. I think as a unit, top to bottom, I think from first man to 16th, there's a cohesion there, and it has to keep growing. I think that'll what we have to hang our head on. So.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'll hear more from Coach Nick Rocco. Stay with us. Welcome back to Flyer Nation. I'm Matt Mohan. I'm once again joined by assistant coach Nick Rocco of the men's basketball team. Coach, let's talk about some of these new players. You added 5 new freshmen to the team this year. Also added a junior transfer, Christian Walker, who came over from Illinois Valley College. How would you rate your recruiting class this year, and what impact do you think these guys can make in their first season?
Well, there's a lot of potential. Potential that doesn't work hard, though, doesn't really come to fruition, so we got to make sure they keep developing. But there's some talented guys, size-wise and skill-wise, and we look forward to how they develop.
Looking at your roster for this year, you guys have a lot of players from close in the area. You got a lot of guys from the Chicagoland area, a couple guys from Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin. You also picked up a player from Denmark, Copenhagen, Denmark this summer. Just what does your recruiting process look like? What do you prioritize when you're searching for new players?
Well, I think the fit has to be perfect in terms of player character and what we stand for as a program, as well as academics. I think once all those things kind of fall in line, then those guys that we are targeting stick out. but character, I would think, has to be number one overall, what we look for.
Yeah, having high character guys is really important for building your team. I did notice though a lot of these recruits are real big bodies for the interior, some 6'7", 6'8" guys. Was size a big factor when trying to pick up players and fulfill some needs for your team this year?
We needed to replace, just like you said, needs too. So when we find that character, we also look at the positional need, and you can't pass up on many 6'8", 240-pound guys. We'll get those ones.
So this year, the preseason poll just came out. You guys are ranked 6th, or projected to finish 6th. I know you guys have had a knack for outperforming expectations in the past, though, for sure. A lot of these teams like Bellarmine, Southern Indiana, the teams at the top, they have a lot of big bodies that are 6'10", 7-foot guys that are huge. How do you, as a team, compensate for having a lack of size? Say, some of your bigs are in foul trouble. How do you stay in the game and create mismatches?
I think a lot of that has to do with just specific scouting reports, and are bigs able to guard on the perimeter? If they're not, then we're going to bring their bigs out on the perimeter to guard us. We're going to run down the floor. We're going to beat them in transition. If we can score before they set their defense up and their bigs come down to guard that rim, then advantage to us.
Yeah, what I like about your team is you're never trying to fit square pegs into round holes. It's all about the fit, trying to find the mismatch, the advantage for your team. All right, we talked a lot about the on-court success, the keys to success and wins. Let's talk a little bit about off-the-court success for these guys. What do you think is the biggest key to make sure an individual player maintains their academic success?
I think Coach Trost does a great job in making sure everyone is hands-on in each individual player's class, in terms of, are they going to class? Are they handing in their work? What are their current grades? Do they need help? Do they need a tutor? And then we just got Tony Gliff, who is direct hands-on with our athletes at Lewis University, who does a great job in checking in with us every day and making sure that they're not falling behind.
Awesome, great hands-on approach for you guys. You guys have been very successful in the classroom. You received an award for academic excellence over the summer by the NABC, that's the National Association of Basketball Coaches. Also had 4 players named to the honors court. What do you think these awards say about the academic prowess of your team?
Well, I think beyond the academic prowess of our team, it speaks to the character. Guys that are willing and able to do more than just basketball at a high level. And again, goes back and forth with, if you have high character off the court and act as a professional off the court, it's going to translate onto the court.
Yeah, it's a lot about carryover. What lessons can you teach as a coach to these players on the court that'll help them in their careers once they graduate, or simply off the court in the classroom right now?
Great question. I think the biggest thing is life is going to get tough, and it's not always going to be easy. And every individual player is going to go through a specific dilemma in their own life. And the biggest thing anybody can ever do is keep family close to them, keep close friends close to them, and watch their inner circle. Because if they have outstanding individuals in their inner circle and friends and family, then when those scenarios hit on or off the court, they're not going to fall by the wayside and make stupid decisions.
Yeah, I agree. Having a good people around you definitely helps you fight through that adversity. Another thing that helps, you guys have a nice big group of upperclassmen that are back with the team this year. You have 4 seniors, a handful of juniors. What does having such a large group of veteran players do for leadership for the guys, not only on the court, but in practice, in the locker room, etc.?
Yeah, I think it shows them the professionalism, so to speak, at which these young guys have to come in every day and practice with that intensity and focus and mindset. And the returners have shown that to this point, and they need to keep showing that, but yeah.
All right, what would you say now so far this year, what would you say is the biggest pleasant surprise so far of your team?
I think, God, it's kind of not a surprise, but everybody on our team, they get along like phenomenally. Like, they all really do genuinely like each other. And when you have that, that's a good sign for success on the court. But not a surprise, but a good thing. It's good.
Yeah, it's good to have great chemistry. That definitely helps. Well, that's going to be all. Coach, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I'll be joined by senior forward of the men's basketball team, Donovan Oliver. Stay right with us. Welcome back to Flyer Nation. I am now joined by senior men's basketball player Donovan Oliver. Donovan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so you're a senior. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, when you started playing ball?
I'm from Kewanee, Illinois, Central Illinois. Started playing basketball, let's say, in third grade at the YMCA.
Did you play any other sports while you were growing up?
Yes, I did. I played baseball. I did track, football, and wrestling.
How would you say those sports helped you in your career in basketball so far?
Well, wrestling, it helps out with like upper body strength, and when you're driving to the lane, you need that. Football is a physical sport. People don't realize how like physical basketball actually is. And track, it just helps like running because you're always running on the court.
It's important. The physicality of the game is important. How and when exactly did you decide that you wanted to play here at Lewis?
Well, I came on a visit, my senior year, official visit, and I had it lined up where I was going to go to I was going to go to Lewis, then Parkside. And when I came to Lewis, I just felt so much more at home. And the guys, they're always with each other and they're so close. So that just, you want to be around people like that. You don't want to be around a team that's separated, I would say, or divided. So this was a team that was super close, and it was like family.
Yeah, it's a real tight-knit community here, and I hear you guys have a lot of chemistry. Do you have any aspirations of playing professionally? I know your teammate from last year, Kendall McCollum, just signed a contract overseas in Germany to play. Do you have any plans for that in your future?
Yeah, I would like to play. If the opportunity comes, I will take it. But if not, I'm not going to stress over it because, once again, I am a student athlete. So if I have something that pops up with like my major related, I would like to do that too. So.
Yeah, but staying on top of school is really important. Who would you say are your biggest influences, the people that made you who you are today?
My mom and my dad. They're, especially my mom, she raised me, and having my dad there when it came to sports also helped me. So those two together just, it's good. Like those two together are just,
yeah, very influential for you. That's fine. Being one of 4 seniors on the team, you guys have a nice veteran group. What role do you play in terms of being a leader for these young guys on the court, in practice, in the locker room?
Just showing them every day how much work you have to put in, like, to be successful. Like, this is not easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So the guys have to know they're coming, like the new guys are coming from their school where they're like the guy, and now when you're here with everyone that loves basketball and you're not the guy anymore, I just have to show them that no matter what, don't get down on yourself.
Yeah, it's important to be a team player. So now this is 4 years for you. You're finishing up here at Lewis. What's been the craziest memory or your favorite moment, favorite win here from your last 4 years?
Last year, playing Bellarmine at Bellarmine, we won on a buzzer beater by Kendall McCollum. So they sold out, and it was just a great atmosphere in that place. And just to take down the number 2 team at the time at home, it was really great.
That's a great feeling going into a hostile environment and taking the win. Is there any NBA player or college player or past NBA player that you try to model your game after? Is there anyone you try to emulate when you're out there on the court?
Yes, sir. I'm a big fan of Kawhi Leonard. He's a two-way player, and not only he takes not only he looks at offense, but he really takes pride in playing defense, and that's what I like. So.
Yeah, great competitor, humble guy, is definitely a good role model. If you could play for any NBA team right now, who would you play for?
I'll play for the Sacramento Kings if I could.
Really? Why?
Buddy Hield, he was one of my favorite college players of all time, and I really like the way he plays, and I think it would be nice to be on his team, to be a teammate of his.
Yeah, hopefully they're an up-and-coming team. Hopefully they have a nice year. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll hear more from senior Donovan Oliver. Stay with us. Welcome back to Flyer Nation. I am once again joined by senior forward Donovan Oliver. Donovan, you mentioned you're a social work major here at Lewis. What are your career aspirations? What would be, if you could have any job in the future, what would it be?
I would like to do social work in schools. I like helping people, and having a kid or having any clients that rely on you and for you to help them see a better day or a brighter day. I love that. Like, I love helping people. So
that's nice. Yeah, definitely. What lessons have you learned here on the court so far in your career that'll help you once you graduate or off the court in your studies?
No, everyone have bad days. Like, even the best players on the court have bad days.
It's true,
so you
yeah.
just can't let it get to a second bad day or a third. You got to catch it and address it while it's right there. So,
yeah. I mean, being a student athlete, especially being, working in the classroom, being a full-time basketball player, it takes a toll. It's not easy to balance both of those things. How do you handle being a full-time student and a basketball player at the same time, traveling and everything that goes on?
When I got here, you learn real fast that it's all about time management, how you spend your time. You can't be doing nonsense like partying and stuff. You have to manage your time. So, like, being an athlete, we're here, I don't know how many hours, but it's a big chunk of our week or our time at school. And then when we're not here, we're in class. And if we're not in class, we have study hall. So, like, you just have to know how to balance everything at once.
Yeah, it's important putting in that grind every single day. How do you and your teammates build relationships off the court? What do you guys do to build your chemistry?
We're always with each other. We spend the majority of our time with each other. We all live with each other, so we're always on the court and when we travel. So we're always with each other. So when you're around people like that, you have to get used. Like, you just build a chemistry, and it's fun. I didn't have brothers growing up. I'm the only boy, so when I got here, it was fun.
Who is your favorite teacher so far at Lewis?
Lori McMill.
Lori McMill. What does she teach again?
Social work. She's
Oh, so you work with her a lot?
I do.
What do you like most about her?
She's very understanding, and she understands that me being an athlete and being a social work major, you have all these files and a bunch of like paperwork you have to read. So it's easy to get burned out, and like she understands that, so she works with me and my schedule.
Now, if you could go back in time and give advice to your younger self, or just any young kid who's trying to play basketball at the collegiate level, what advice would that be? If
I had to give myself advice, I would have just came right in and told myself, no matter what, just play, and don't worry about the coaching stuff. Don't worry about anything. Just play my game. I would have had a smoother ride here if I would have just played my own game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, Donovan, thank you so much for being with us today. Best of luck on your season. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I'll be sitting down with both Donovan and Coach Nick Rocco. Stay with us. Welcome back to Flyer Nation. I am now joined by both assistant coach Nick Rocco and senior forward Donovan Oliver. Donovan, I know Coach has only been here for your last 2 years in your 4-year career. How would you say your relationship has grown with him in the last 2 years?
I feel like you have to get to know someone, so like it's not automatically like a trust thing, but like you have to get to know him. And at first, I played against Rocco in AAU.
Really?
Yeah.
No way. That's great. Going back a long time.
And we're not going to talk about what happened because he doesn't like it, but I've known Rocco for a couple years now, and I feel like now I trust him a lot more than when he first came in. And he's always asking, do guys want to get extra work in? He's always there when we need something like food, like what should we be eating, what should we not be eating, and he's just a really good guy to have on your side.
What would you say is going to be the biggest challenge? What would you say is the biggest challenge you guys are going to face this year, and how do you think you guys can overcome it?
You want to take that one, Don?
Everyone talks about it, not having Kendo. You have an All-American point guard who runs the show, so right now we just have to adjust, and someone's going to have to fill in the shoes, so that's going to be the biggest adjustment, and that's going to be our adversity, because Kendo was a coach on the court, but that's just another role for someone to step into.
Yeah, next man up mentality. Do you guys have any special pregame rituals or pregame traditions that you guys do before games together?
I mean, I don't know what those guys do, but listen to music in the locker room. And for me, I like to have I call it my pregame meal. So they have their pregame meal, I have my pregame meal.
What's your pregame meal?
Some lean chicken, like I'm gonna play, and some pasta. So I like to feel like if I'm sharp mentally and physically, they go hand in hand.
Are there any games that you guys are looking forward to this year? Any special matchups that you guys have circled on the calendar that you can't wait for?
You know, in terms for me, and I hope they think the same way, but there's no one game that we have circled. I think every game is going to be the most important game, just like today is the most important practice, and tomorrow's the most important practice after today. So to circle one game, I think would be, I don't know.
Getting ahead of yourself?
Yeah, a little foolish, but I mean, I'm sure there's games that everybody knows is a big conference game and you have to get up for. But I think every game is its most important game.
Yeah, take each day as it comes. I respect that. Coach, what do you like about Donovan's game and his personality, him overall as a player? What do you think? How do you think he sticks out from the rest?
Donovan is a great young man, and from kind of knowing him back in AAU to really getting to know him now over the last 2-3 years, I think Donovan's going to be successful no matter what he does in basketball or off the court. Donovan's going to be able to stretch the floor for us. Donovan's going to be able to rebound for us. Donovan's going to guard the other team's best player. Donovan's going to be the best off-the-ball cutter. Donovan does so many of the little things, and he does so many of the big things that, in my opinion, Donovan's an all-around very, very good player, and he'll be one for us.
Yeah, jack of all trades,
Yes.
Great player on and off the court.
Yes.
Donovan, what do you like most about Coach Rocco so far that you've known him?
I like how he'll call you out. He's not afraid to call out players, and I think you need that because you get some coaches that won't call out their best player, won't call out like the starting five, but Rocco's a guy that will call out the starting five and let us know that we're not playing well. So
With love.
yes.
With love.
Hold everyone accountable, for sure. So you guys have spent some time coaching under Scott Trost, who's a very prestigious coach. He's received 5 Division II Coach of the Year awards. Last year was named the GLVC Conference Coach of the Year. What about him makes him such a great coach to play under?
Well, to coach with, I think he's very detail-oriented. You have to know what you're doing. You got to be on top of your game. And yeah, you got to be willing to work, and he's going to teach you. So if you're not listening, you're not going to learn, and I think that goes hand in hand with the players.
Donovan?
I'm playing under him. He's a very straight guy, but you need that because you don't want your team to think they can do whatever they want, and you don't want guys coming in and just playing selfish. He makes you realize that the game's bigger than yourself. So.
All right, great job, guys. That's going to be all for this episode of Flyer Nation. I want to thank assistant coach Nick Rocco and Donovan Oliver for being with us today. Thank you so much. Best of luck to you guys on your season.
Thank you.
I hope you guys have a great year.
Thank you very much.
You can catch our next episode on the LUTN YouTube channel where we'll be spotlighting the men's and women's cross-country teams. That's all for Flyer Nation today. I'm Matt Mohan. Thanks for watching.